Welcome, and thank you for choosing to watch this video series. This video series provides an overview of Los Angeles City Planning's ongoing efforts to update the Boyle Heights Community Plan. This presentation is also available in Spanish. Para ver la presentación en español, por favor visite el sitio de web indicado aquí. If you have been involved throughout the process to update the community plan, we appreciate your contributions and continued engagement. If this is your first time engaging with the Boyle Heights Community Plan, thank you for joining us. We look forward to your participation. This is part 2 of a 4-part series of presentations. Part 1 is a general introduction to community planning in the City of Los Angeles and the Boyle Heights Community Plan. This section, Part 2, is an overview of proposed zoning tools to implement the Boyle Heights Community Plan. Part 3 is an overview of proposed policies of the Boyle Heights Community Plan, and Part 4 is an overview of the Community Benefits Program, an important part of the Community Plan strategy to bolster affordable housing in Boyle Heights. In addition to this video series, please visit our website for detailed informational handouts, an interactive land use and zoning map, and draft plan and community benefits program. To recap from Part 1, over the past several years of outreach, the community plan has been developed through stakeholder input in various forums. Some of the key needs that have been heard throughout this process are the need to preserve existing rent-stabilized housing and create more new affordable housing, concerns over displacement of residents and local small businesses, addressing long-standing issues of environmental injustice, and providing better access to healthy foods through existing corner stores known as tienditas and through support for street vending. This feedback has served as the foundation from which the policy direction for the Boyle Heights Community Plan update has taken shape. As we discussed in Part 1 of this video series, the Community Plan update consists of 3 primary components: the policy document, which contains goals and policies, as well as a future implementation chapter; the land use map, a legally binding document that displays the location of land uses within the plan area; and the new zoning, which implements the policies and the community vision by updating the regulations of what can be built on each piece of land. While the plan text contains goals, policies, and programs that capture the community's vision for the neighborhood, the land use and zoning changes applied through the community planning process are the primary tools to implement that vision. In this section of the video series, we will focus on how zoning works and what it regulates. Zoning regulations are rules that determine what can be built on any given parcel of land, and include rules on the size and scale of new developments, as well as use regulations that say what the property can be used for, such as housing, retail, or office space. Zoning regulations are applied to each and every property in the city, and in this section, we will walk through the zoning tools for Boyle Heights that help achieve the goals of the community plan. A key piece of the community plan update and a key tool to implement the community vision is the community plan land use designation map. As we discussed in Part 1 of this video series, the land use map generally identifies where broad categories of land uses will be located in the community, such as residential, commercial, industrial, and open space uses. During the community plan update process, each property is assigned a land use designation, and each designation corresponds to a specific set of zoning districts that can be used. This section of the video series will walk through the components of the new zoning being applied through the community plan and what types of regulations the new zoning contains. The existing and proposed land use maps here show the land use designations throughout Boyle Heights, which are depicted in different colors. These designations essentially convey what goes where in terms of future land uses and regulations. Today, the land uses in Boyle Heights are primarily multi-unit residential, shown in the tan and orange, with commercial and mixed-use corridors that travel north-south and east-west throughout the plan area, shown here in the pinks and reds. The plan is bordered on the west and south by industrial land, which is shown in blue. The community plan update proposes similar land uses, with primarily multi-unit residential uses throughout the existing residential neighborhoods, mixed-use corridors, and to maintain the industrial land for jobs. As we discussed in part 1 of this video series, the zoning districts that correspond to a land use designation might contain different specific regulations, such as a different limit on how tall a building can be, but are generally grouped with other zoning districts with the same general uses or intensity. New zoning is applied through the community plan process to better address input and feedback received from stakeholders over the past several years, such as zoning tools to better safeguard existing households, increase access to fresh foods, and to address longstanding issues of environmental injustice by having heavy industrial uses close to residential uses. This section of the video series will walk through the new zoning code and what the new zoning regulates. Through the community plan update process, zoning changes are identified in key areas to implement the policy vision for the plan area. The Boyle Heights Community Plan will be the second community plan to adopt new zones created through the city's ongoing effort to update the zoning code. The Boyle Heights Community Plan will be implementing the new zoning for every property within the plan area. However, in many cases, the uses and the intensity of the new zoning on a parcel will not significantly change from the current zoning regulations. Instead, the new zoning code provides zoning districts tailored to the community, with more tools to better implement the community's vision. The new zoning code is arranged in articles, which are shown here. Each of these articles can be found on the city planning website. As community plans across the city are updated, new zoning districts will be added to the zoning code to address the vast diversity of communities in Los Angeles. The new zoning code will only be implemented in a community plan area through a community plan update process. Articles 2 through 6 represent the key components of the new zoning code. Each article contains a set of regulations that apply to a certain aspect of development. The code establishes 5 types of zoning districts that will be applied to every property and that address different facets of how a property can be used and developed. First, there are form districts, which determine how large buildings can be and regulate features like a building's height and width. Frontage districts regulate how a building interacts with its surroundings. Frontage districts address things like the building's proximity to the street and some facets of a building's general appearance at the street level, such as where doors and windows are placed. Standards districts regulate certain design elements around the building, including those related to access, parking, trees, and signs. Article 5 contains use districts that determine what kinds of activities are allowed on a property, ranging from residential to industrial and, in many instances, a mix of uses. And Article 6, density districts, indicate the number of housing units that are permitted on any site that allows for residential units. In addition to the 5 articles that contain the zoning districts applied to each property, Article 9 of the new zoning code contains various incentive programs, including the framework for the Community Benefits Program that incentivizes affordable housing in Boyle Heights. For more details on the Community Benefits Program, please view Part 4 of this video series. The 5 main components, Articles 2 through 6, that were just reviewed, will be applied on a map to every parcel in the plan area, and the complete zone for each property is often referred to as a zoning string, with the 5 modules as shown in this example. Details for each district are contained in the new zoning pages, which are available on our website, and the zone for each parcel in Boyle Heights can be found by visiting our interactive zoning map, also on our website. Customized zone strings are applied to individual properties on the zoning map. Here we see the location of the parcel within the plan area that contains the zone string that's shown here. Now we'll go over a few examples of the types of metrics that each component of the new zone string regulates. We'll start with the first piece of the zone string, form districts. A form district regulates the building's scale and mass, which includes metrics such as the width and height limit of a building, which can either be in the number of stories or a number of feet tall. Form districts also regulate FAR, or floor area ratio, which is the relationship between any given parcel's land area and the total area of the building or buildings on a lot. FAR is essentially how many square feet of building can be built on any given property. FAR works in conjunction with other metrics found in form districts, such as building height and width, to regulate the size and scale of a building. Form districts also contain bulk plane requirements, which create an angled plane that upper stories of buildings have to be contained within. This bulk plane requirement is applied through form districts in residential areas in Boyle Heights and results in a building that has a pitched roof or that has the upper stories stepped back from the sides of the building. Form districts also regulate features such as lot coverage, which limits how much of a property can be built on. In this example, you can see the building coverage outlined in yellow in relation to the lot. The second component of the zone string contains the frontage districts. Frontages determine how buildings are oriented in relation to the street and the public realm. For example, if a building is separated from the sidewalk by a large parking lot, it can be difficult and sometimes dangerous to access for anyone who's not in a vehicle. The location of buildings in relation to the street can affect the way someone experiences a neighborhood. Frontages contain features such as transparency and the ground story height requirements of buildings, ensuring that buildings are more accessible from the sidewalk for all walking and rolling users, creating a more active and engaging street experience. Design standards and building materials influence the character of buildings. Proposed zoning introduces character frontages, which require new construction to use design features and materials that reflect the existing development patterns found in the neighborhood. One such area where character frontages will be applied in Boyle Heights is the historic Brooklyn neighborhood corridor, along Cesar Chavez between Mott and Cumming Street. Character frontages can regulate facade features such as street-facing entrances, upper story window recession, the level of transparency, which means the size and the number of windows, primary materials used on the facade, such as brick or textured exterior wall surfaces, and additional design features such as recessed entrances and large shopfront windows. The third component of the zone string contains the development standards districts. Development standards regulate site design and include things such as parking requirements, screening, signs, landscaping, and pedestrian access. Screening, as seen here, can include things like fence and wall regulations. Development standards also set the type of signs allowed, as well as the amount and size of signs allowed. Here we see examples of signs found throughout the neighborhood. Pedestrian access standards ensure easy access to building entrances from the public right-of-way and facilitate movement for all users. The fourth component of the zone string contains use districts. Use districts outline the types of activities and uses that can occur within a building and/or site, and often include operating standards or regulations for certain uses. Use districts also regulate which uses need additional review by city planning, such as a conditional use permit, or that need approval by the City Planning Commission or City Council. Boyle Heights today is characterized predominantly by residential uses and includes various housing types for a variety of household sizes throughout the plan area. Residential uses can also occur within mixed-use developments, providing housing in combination with other uses. Commercial uses include things like shopping centers, restaurants, medical offices, and other retail or service amenities. Many local and regional serving businesses are found throughout the Boyle Heights plan area, often along corridors. The majority of the industrial land in Boyle Heights is found along the western and southern parts of the plan area, where activities such as textile manufacturing, warehousing and distribution, food processing, and other jobs-producing uses are. The fifth component of the zone string are the density districts. Density districts are assigned to properties that allow for residential uses, and they regulate the number of housing units allowed on these properties. The density is typically regulated by requiring a certain amount of square feet of lot area for each unit. For example, a fairly typical residential lot in Boyle Heights that is 6,000 square feet might have a density of 1 unit allowed per 1,500 square feet of lot area, which would allow 4 units on the site. This can be calculated by taking the lot size of a property and dividing it by the number of square feet of lot area required per unit, which is found in the density district. The modularity of the new zoning code allows for flexibility in the number of units within buildings of the same size and scale. In this example, we see 2 multi-unit housing buildings that are similar in size. The one on the left has a density district that allows for a maximum of 8 units, but the one on the right allows for a maximum of 4 units. This means that the one on the left could have up to 8 potentially smaller units, and the one on the right could have up to 4 potentially larger units, since the buildings are similar in size. As we reviewed in the previous slides, the form and frontage districts regulate the height, size, scale, and design of new buildings. The density districts regulate how many units can be built within that building, but do not regulate how large a building can be. To recap, the 5 components we just reviewed are the various districts that make up the zoning string. The Boyle Heights Community Plan will be the second community plan to utilize the new zoning code. For more information on the new zoning code and for a complete list of the articles, please visit planning.lacity.org/zoning/new-code. To view the zoning proposed for each parcel within the Boyle Heights Community Plan, please visit planning4la.org/bhplan and click on the Maps tab. Thank you for viewing Part 2 of this 4-part video series. Please view the next 2 parts for additional information related to the Boyle Heights Community Plan update, which you can find on our website at planning4la.org/bhplan. You can also visit our website for the recently released draft plan document and community benefits program, as well as an interactive zoning map. In addition, on our website, you can sign up for our email list to be notified of future releases and public hearing dates. Thank you for your continued involvement in the community planning process.